everyone, welcome back. Mixing your own colors is part of the fun of watercolors, but honestly, getting the same color every time can be pretty challenging. So this fall, I decided to make my life simpler. I am going to mix my colors one time, put them in a palette that I can use all season long. So in this video, I am going to show you all of my favorite mixes, plus I'm going to give you some extras that are just good fall colors, and show you how I created the cutest little palette. Don't worry about taking notes. I am going to give you all of my mixes later on in the video. Just sit back, relax, and let's talk about some fall colors. This empty palette came from Amazon. It's made by Bowerbird. There are a good number of brands who carry these, but I really wanted one that had a fall feeling to it. And all the ones I found were solid colors and nothing seemed to fit my fall motif until I found this cute little bird one. And I think it's going to work nicely. This is like any other of the tins that you've seen like this. It has these little mixing areas and it comes with 12 half pans. I really want a full pan though. I usually paint with larger brushes, so I want my brush to fit nicely in the pan without overlapping too much into the next color. And I'd rather not have to dip the tip of the brush in the pan. So I tested this real quick just to make sure that the whole pans were going to fit in here. So they come out very easily. And yes, so I can easily get 8 whole pans in these little clips. Honestly, I could probably squeeze in another 4 down the center, but those are not going to be secure. So I need to use double-sided tape to hold them in place, I think. I spent a whole day going through my paints and playing with mixes to find the perfect fall colors for my new palette. And here are the colors that I decided on, except for 2, but that's because I was running low on a couple of colors and I didn't want to risk running out. So we'll finish those swatches today. The first one is an earthy green that I use all year, but it's not in my everyday palette. I mix it up each time I want to use it. Since it's a perfect fall green and I know I'm going to use it a lot in the next few months, I'm going to add it to this palette. So the base for this one is sap green. And I'm almost out of sap and the new one won't be here for a few days, so I'm not going to put it all in here at one time. That way, if I get too much of the burnt sienna in it, I'll have a little more sap to correct it. And we're going to need some toothpicks. So now let's add just a little bit of burnt sienna. And burnt sienna is very powerful, so it's super easy to get too much. So add only a little bit at a time. Then we're going to take the toothpick, or you could use a palette knife and stir it up really well. Make sure you get it completely incorporated. And then test it on a scrap piece of watercolor paper to see how the color is. And that's obviously too green still. So I'm going to add a little more burnt sienna and just keep repeating these steps until we get the color we want. And this green took many more tries than usual, only because I was being extra careful not to go too far with that burnt sienna since I was running out of the sap green. You know, I'm used to mixing this one up a lot on the fly, but it has never taken me this many tries to get it right. And I know that's why. It's just because I was being very timid with the burnt sienna. Last fall, I purchased a few Daniel Smith colors that I really like. This one is transparent red oxide. And if you look at the pigment code on the back, it is PR101. Well, guess what? PR101 is burnt sienna. And I have a lot of that from Winsor & Newton. But it's not over here on my everyday palette, and it's a great fall color, so it's going in this palette just as it is. And even though it's not a mixture, when you put it in the pan, it's still a good idea to take a toothpick and spread it around into the corners and get it all nice and smooth. Your watercolors will do much better if they are smoothed out rather than squeezed into piles. When watercolors form like mounds or rock-shaped piles in your palette, they don't soften as well when you try to reconstitute them with water. This next one is Winsor & Newton Red Deep plus Burnt Sienna. And I meant to write the names and the formulas on the bottom of the pans so I don't forget what the color is. But I'm just now remembering, so I'm going to start doing that from now on out, and I'll just go back to the other two later and write on those once that paint is hard. Now, Winsor Red Deep is another one I am almost out of. So I'll make sure to reserve a little bit just in case I go too far with the burnt sienna. And really, we just keep repeating these steps just like we did before. The next one is Winsor & Newton's Indian Yellow. This one could easily be substituted with Winsor & Newton Yellow Deep, or Daniel Smith Hansa Yellow Deep, or Da Vinci's Arlide Yellow Deep. All of those are very similar to each other. The only difference in those three and the Indian Yellow is the Indian Yellow has a hint of orange in it. So if you have any of the other three, but you really want Indian Yellow, just add a smidge of a deep orange. Like Winsor & Newton Orange Red shade, for instance, would be a good one. If you don't have a deep yellow of any kind, but maybe you have a medium yellow, you may need to add a touch of yellow ochre or possibly raw sienna to it as well as the orange. Just experiment with the yellows you do have, and I bet you can come up with something you like just as well. The other yellow that I want in my palette is just a darker version of the Indian Yellow. So all I'm going to do is add Indian Yellow and yellow ochre. But I'm out of yellow ochre in the tube. I don't know how I am all of a sudden out of so many colors, and I didn't even realize it until I started this project. So I'm going to have to go take some yellow ochre from my everyday palette. And that's going to work just fine because I don't need much. If I needed a lot, it'd be more difficult to get it from my palette since I'm going to have to add some water to it. So when at all possible, use it from the tube to make your mixes when filling up pans like this. That was a little too much. I didn't mean to get it quite that dark, so I'll need to add a little bit more of the Indian yellow to lighten it back up just a little bit. This is the color I wanted. It's a little darker than the Indian yellow without being too brown. Now let's take a look at this purple. This is Danielle Smith's Rose of Ultramarine. This is such a great fall purple. If you mix quercetin red with ultramarine blue, you will get this color or something super close to it. Okay, we're almost done. The next one is Danielle Smith's Naphthalide Maroon, which is burnt sienna plus quercetin red. And that is just a lovely reddish brown, almost a purple. And now for the last one, we have an orange that I came up with. It's burnt sienna plus Winsor Newton orange, and I always use Cadfrey orange, plus Indian yellow. Little tip here, what I think is easiest is to start with your base color. For instance, this one has mostly Indian yellow. So that's what I'm going to put in this little pan first. And then I can kind of eyeball how much do I think I need of the other two, since the other two are a lesser amount compared to the yellow. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's just what I find will help me get to the right color the quickest, is if I put them in the pan in that order, and then I only have to tweak, you know, from then on out. Like with all of these, there is no wrong amount. Just mix until you find the tones that you really like. So here's the orange. Now, if you'll notice, it's going to go really well with the two yellows because all three of these have Indian yellow as their main base. So there's the orange, there's the medium yellow, and now here's that lighter yellow. Okay, so here are all the colors that we did. So I'm going to add them to my palette, and I want all my yellows together. So going from lightest to darkest. This the orange, and then we'll put that kind of that brownish color right there. Put our green and the red. This is that purple. And which one is this? This is that one, that kind of purplish brown. Right there on the end. Now we have a fall palette. And if I wanted to add more, I could probably get some more down the center here. They're not going to be very secure without putting some little tape or glue under there, but I don't feel like I need those. I could also add these little small ones if I just wanted to do that. But really, I think this little palette, along with anything that I already have in my normal palette, like sepia. Sepia is a really good one for fall. Then I could always just take from my larger palette. Or if I wanted to take this with me out for plein air painting, I could put a little sepia in one of these smaller ones, or two of these smaller ones, and just add them in there just for the day trip or whatever I'm going to do. That would be enough to have in this palette for just a couple of paintings. So there we go. We have our nice, cute little fall palette. Here are all the colors that we mixed today, plus a few others that you might find helpful for your fall palettes. Of course, there are many, many, many more colors that will work in a fall palette. These are just some that I thought might be helpful for you. So take a screenshot real quick so that you can keep these. And one more quick tip. If you find that your mixes are taking a long time to harden, just pop them in the freezer for a couple of hours and you'll be good to go. Well, after a few days, I decided I really wanted to add a blue. So I mixed My Merry Blue turquoise green with yellow ochre. Now, don't feel like you've got to rush out and buy My Merry Blue turquoise green. You can use any turquoise green, or you can add a plain turquoise if you have that with a touch of maybe sap green, and then add your yellow ochre. Or you could try cerulean blue and sap green to get this with, you might have to add a little yellow ochre to that as well. So anyway, there's lots of ways to get this color, but I did put this on the sheet that I told you to screenshot. And then I just put it in our palette, right where we had talked about, right there. And I have space for 3 more. So here are the things that I painted so far. So I'm really excited about painting more. These are just my first ones. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will be seeing this palette being used for the next couple of months. I hope this was useful for you. So happy fall painting, and I'll see you next time.